Today is a very auspicious day. Srila Jagadish Pandit Prabhu's Disappearance Day and also Shri Jiva Goswami. So our Gurudev wrote their biographies. I'm remembering from that and what I heard. Jagadish Pandit in Krishna Lila, he's one of the wives of those Smarta Brahmins in Vrindavan who left the order of their husbands and went to feed Krishna Balaram. You know, in Bhagavatam that Lila is there. Once Krishna told to cowherd boys, we are going near, so no need to bring lunch. So they went without lunch, but cowherd boys became hungry. Then they were requesting Krishna, you give us food. Then Krishna sent them, yes, here near there are some Brahmins, they are doing yagya, they are offering to me, so you request for me and Krishna, for me and Balaram, you can go. Although Krishna knows everything. They were Smarta Brahmins in Karmakant. In Karmakant also worship of God is there, but he's like a part of karma. So they are not, and actually they are not having that proper belief or knowledge of who is Supreme Lord. He's just giver of fruits and like this. So cowherd boys went there and they saw them offering to ghee and they were uttering Krishnaya Swaha, Baladevaya Swaha, using. The cowherd boys, they thought, oh yes, very good. So they requested for food, but Brahmins refused. No, you go away. What you are doing here? So then they were disappointed. In short I'm telling, because topic is there. Then they came back to Krishna and they said they did not give. Then Krishna said, okay, then you go to their wives, they will give. So they went and wives immediately were very eager to go and feed Krishna Balaram in forest, but husbands would not allow them because they had no actual tattvic faith in Krishna and Balaram, only on Karmakant platform. So they prohibited them. But because they were real devotees, those wives, and they were very eager, they neglected the orders of husbands and anyway went there to forest and fed Krishna and Balaram with all the nice preparations meant for that yagya and everything. So all they were fed. Then Krishna told them, now you go back. And the gopis said, already our husbands told us if we will go, we should not come back. So we are now without shelter. You are our only shelter. Then Krishna said, no, I am in the heart of everyone. I know what will happen. So you go back. They will accept you. So because wives, they had pure devotion to Krishna, this also had effect on their husbands. So when they came back, the husbands were very sorry that how we could not recognize Krishna and Balaram as our objects of worship, and you have such devotion to them. So the husbands, they fell to the lotus feet of wives and they were praying for their grace. How it happened? These wives, they were hearing Harikatha from those some ladies who were going from Gokul Mahavan to Mathura, and they would see Krishna and Balaram, and they used to sing the glories of Krishna Balaram and also speak about them to these wives. So only by hearing Harikatha, they developed that devotion to Krishna. It was awakened. Yesterday we heard in Bhagavatam, if someone hears Harikatha, Vedic literature means Harikatha, he will awaken that devotion. So it happened. So two of those wives became in Gauri Lila, Jagadish and his brother Hiranya. They appeared in Pragjotishpur, means in Assam. Nowadays it is called Guwahati. We were there with Gurudev many times. Capital of Assam, Guwahati. So after their parents died. Then Jagadish and his wife Dukini, they came to live in Mayapur, and their house was like about 2 miles away from the house of Jagannath Mishra and Sachimata. So they were assisting also Jagannath and Sachi in raising Nimai, and sometimes she would also be like a wet nurse, so that Vatsalya Bhav she had from the appearance of Mahaprabhu, because they are eternal associate. So then, whenever Mahaprabhu used to cry as a baby, he would not stop crying, even if they would give him many things, sweets, all this. No, he never stopped. Only if they started to chant Harinam, Haribol, and clapping, then he would stop. So all the time Haribol was there, because that was his mission, to induce people to chant Harinam. So one day it happened that he did not stop crying, even when they were clapping and saying Haribol, he would cry continuously. Then Jagannath asked him, "What do you want, child? What we have to give to you?" Then Nimai said, "The Jagadish made a big offering today on Ekadashi, rice offering and other items offering to Vishnu. I want to take that." Then Jagannath was surprised how this boy knows it is Ekadashi, and how he knows Jagadish is offering big offering to Vishnu today. So Jagannath went there and he saw it is true. Jagadish was really offering. Generally we don't on Ekadashi because we cannot eat there. But in Mad they are cooking normal, everything. Rice, chapati, everything, sabji, but for Krishna. Devotees will take fruits and this. So like this, Jagadish, because he's a devotee, he was offering. Then Jagannath said, "My boy requested this, so I'm ashamed that it is Ekadashi and also you did not offer, so how I can give?" Then Jagadish understood, no, this is not ordinary thing. It is Gopal, Krishna speaking through him, or it is Gopal himself who wants this. And it was true, because Mahaprabhu is Gopal, Krishna, so he said, "You take." So Nimai took everything. In this way he blessed them, because that is their seva from Krishna Lila also, to feed Krishna. So in this life also, from birth they got this seva, and Mahaprabhu himself is requesting in this unusual way. Then Mahaprabhu stopped crying. Then later when Mahaprabhu revealed, then before taking sannyas, when they were doing all kirtan and everything, then Mahaprabhu told him to Jagadish, "You go to Puri to preach Harinam." And Jagadish went and he saw Jagannath, and when he was going back, then he was feeling too much separation from Jagannath. Our Gurudev explained why. Because he's seeing his object of worship. We don't have the darshan. But he's not ordinary person. He's personal associate of Krishna, those gopis. So he's seeing his object of worship in Jagannath. So he was feeling so much separation that he was crying and was unable to go back. Then Jagannath appeared to him and said, "Why you are crying? You take me with you." Then he said, "How I can take you? What king will say?" Then Jagannath said, "No, I will tell to king to give you my previous form." When they changed the deity form, the old ones they are keeping in Samadhi. So one of those forms you can take, I will order to king. So really, Jagannath appeared in dream to king and said, "My devotee Jagadish, you should give him my form from Samadhi." And king gave. And then Jagadish asked, "How I will carry you? You are very heavy deity." Then Jagannath said, no problem, I will become light, very light, you can carry me. How this is possible? Wood can speak, wood can become light or light, because that is not wood, that is Daru Brahma. It is Brahma, means Supreme Lord, in the form of wood. So then really it happened. He told him, you just take one new cloth and you tie me, and on one stick you carry me. I will be very light, but you should not put me down. If you will put me down somewhere, there I will stay. Then Jagadish said, yes, I will carry you to my home, Mayapur. So he was going, and with some Brahmins. Then just like 50-60 kilometers from Mayapur, from Calcutta to Mayapur, in between, like halfway, in Jashra or Chakradaha, one place, it's very sacred place. There, Pradyumna, son of Krishna, killed one demon in Dwapar Yuga, and therefore it was first called Pradyumna Nagar. And Ganga is flowing there because Bhagirath king was taking Ganga towards the ocean, but here his chariot, the wheel of chariot stuck in the earth. There, that is why it is called Chakradaha. And then it was shortened because people don't like to complicate it, so it was Chagdaha. Chagdaha. But nowadays, Chagda, they're saying, short. So there, Jagadish saw Ganga, and he was going to take bath and do Gayatri and offer water to Ganga. By Ganga, you worship Ganga. And he put the Jagannath on the stick to Brahmin. Brahmin was keeping him on his shoulder with that stick, no problem. So while Jagadish was bathing, then this Brahmin said, he felt that suddenly Jagannath is becoming very heavy. I am unable to hold him. So how this is possible? In Puri, he became very light, and here he suddenly became very heavy because he is Supreme Lord in the form of deity. So Brahmin called Jagadish, you come back, I cannot hold him anymore, he's very heavy. And Jagadish said, yes, I'm coming. But when he came, already that Brahmin could not hold him, and he put on the ground under one tree. And Jagadish, when he came, he saw, oh, he wants to stay here. Then what to do? So he cancelled his trip, means he's coming back to Mayapur, although his house was there, but he saw it is the desire of Jagannath. So he was worshipping Jagannath there under that tree. And then king came to know that when Jagannath from Puri came, and it is king's duty, if some deity comes to his area, then he has to take care of that deity. So he thought that perhaps Jagadish wants to get some land. He's very poor, so he brought that deity there, and he wants to get some land from me or something. So he came there and said, no, you cannot stay here. You should go. Then Jagadish said, yes, I wanted to go to Mayapur. There is my home. But Jagannath wanted to stay here. I cannot move him. I tried, but I cannot move him. So it is his desire. Still, king would not believe. He said, okay, if this is the problem that he does not move, then can I move? Yes, then they brought so many elephants and everything, but they could not move. Why? Because he's Supreme Lord. How you can move Supreme Lord? Today also we thought we will have program in Zagreb, but in Bangla it is said, আপন ইচ্ছা জীব কতি বাঞ্ছা করে, Krishna ইচ্ছা হইলে তবে তো ফল ধরে. Jiva may have many desires. But unless Krishna fulfills, you cannot get the fruit. It depends on him. Everything depends on his will. So they could not move. Then king also understood, oh, it is Jagannath's desire to stay here. He is not hypocrite, Jagadish, so he begged forgiveness and he made that first temple for Jagannath there. And all the people they came to know from Jagannath Puri, that Jagannath came and they all came and they were serving. So it became very famous. And even Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, they came to visit this Jagannath temple and Jagadish 2 times. There was some kirtan, harikatha, prasad, everything. Festival was there. Jagadish made 2 times. Gaur Nityananda. So on the second time, when they were going, then Dukhini Mata, wife of Jagadish, she was very unhappy, feeling too much separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, I will stay here as Gaur Gopal Diti. I'm giving you. Small Gauranga Mahaprabhu as a Gopal, but Mahaprabhu. So he gave, he said, I'm here. So Dukhini Mata was then serving because she is in Vatsalya Bhav. So that Diti is also there. Jagannath and Gopal and Radha Vallabh. So one day, Dukhini Mata was boiling milk, but she was somewhere else. And that milk was spilling over. Then Gaur Gopal Diti, he came there and he started to stir the milk to put down, but his hand little burnt because small boy is not experienced in these things, but he tried. So little his hand got burned. So that burn you can still see on that Diti. He was trying to serve devotee Dukhini Mata. That is his lila. So he little burned his hand. And you can see there. So then they had one son. And from this son, family descendants, they were serving this Jagannath Diti and Gaur Gopal after the disappearance of Dukhini Mata and Jagadish. And then later it happened that many people, they donated land for the service of Jagannath and many things. But later in, I think, 8th generation descendants, they were gradually, they sold all that land, those descendants, to keep the service alive. But then they sold it all and there was no money. They could not keep up the service and festivals and building could not be repaired and like this. So Vishwanath or something, Goswami, he requested our Parangurudev, you please take the service of this Jagannath. We are unable to do. Then Parangurudev said, you are descendant of Jagadish Pandit. You go on serving. I can send you monthly some money if necessary, but why I will take all the seva? It is your seva. Then he said, no, if I will die, then what will happen? Because he had no children, and then who will serve like this? I really want you should take this seva. Then Parangurudev went to Mayapur to consult with Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. And Sridhar Goswami Maharaj told him, you established many temples and installed many deities, new deities, but you did not take the service of any ancient deity yet. Like we can make new temples, but also we have to take care of old temples, or some ancient deities are there like this. So he said, this seva you did not yet take, so now it is coming of its own accord. It is coming to you, so you should accept It is Jagannath's desire. So then Parangurudev took that Jagannath and immediately repaired the building and put electricity and made one guest house. And in this area that Vishwanath said, 3 festivals you have to do every year. Under this condition, I am giving you. One is today, Jagadish Pandit Disappearance Day. It is a big festival and they are offering to 64 Mahantas that bhog. Once I was there with Gurudev on this festival, Chidwa, some prasad they are giving. And then Snan Yatra is very famous. Many people, they come. Snan Yatra, there is no Ratha Yatra. Why? Our Gurudev explained. Because in Puri, Jagannath is in Dwaraka. And then once in a year, he goes to Vrindavan, Ratha Yatra. But here, Jagadish Pandit is already Brajavasi. He's serving him, and it is not like a city, it is like a village. So this is actually already Vrindavan. He's a Brajavasi and serving in that mood, and Dukini Mata. So Jagannath is already in Vrindavan, so there is no Ratha Yatra festival. Snan Yatra is there, bathing him on his appearance day. And also the Dol Yatra during Gaur Purnima to bath the Radha Vallabh deities. So this is how our Parangurudev got the service of the Jagannath. Now that is one branch of Chaitanya Gauriya Math, and Seva is going on. And all the disciples of Prabhupada, they were very happy. And one also told, like Madhavendra Puri in Govardhan, Gopal was waiting for Madhavendra Puri. And the verse is, Madhava Kove Asigo. When will Madhava come? Means Madhavendra Puri. But they used now this same verse for Madhava Goswami. Jagannath was saying, when Madhava will come, that I can get his service. So that stick by which Jagadish carried Jagannath from Puri is still there in that temple, you can see. And on yesterday's day, they did big Nagar Sankirtan. On that Nagar Sankirtan, they are carrying that stick. And our Parangurudev made a big festival there when he got that seva. So, and Bhagavan Das Babaji Maharaj, Siddha Baba, perfected Babaji, he used to do bhajan for some time in this place. So it is very sacred and Ganga is very near. And if you sometime go from Calcutta to Mayapur, then surely you must stop there also to take the blessing of Jagannath. So I am going down to Srila Jagadish Pandit and praying his causeless mercy. Today also is the disappearance day of Jiva Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis. There were 3 brothers, Rup, Sanatan and Anupam. Dabir Kas, Sakar Malik and Ballabha. 3 brothers. Son of Ballabha is Jiva Goswami. Rupa Sanatan, they are his uncles. So when Mahaprabhu came to Ramkeli village, where Rupa Sanatan were staying in palace, because they were engaged in government service in Malda capital, Jiva Goswami was born there in Ramkeli. And when Mahaprabhu came there to rescue Rupa Sanatan, and some say that Jiva Goswami met Mahaprabhu at that time. Some say that Jiva Goswami was born later. But it is written that Jiva Goswami saw Mahaprabhu in his dream, his lila in Navadip, Kirtan lila. And when Rupa Sanatan left house, then Jiva Goswami got all that property. Anupam also left, his father and uncles, they all left. So he got all that property, everything, but he was not interested in that. he had no feeling of enjoying anything because he lost association of his uncles, and even from his birth, Jiva Goswami was not playing like ordinary children, but those plays which were connected to the worship of Krishna. And he also had deity, Krishna Balaram, and would offer flowers and sweets, and then as a child, and then give prasad to his friends, and he took prasad, and he was bowing down, and tears were coming from his eyes. He was, from birth, he was devotee. Of course, he's an eternal associate in Krishna Lila. He is Bilasa Manjari of Radharani. Manjaris, they are young maidservants of Radharani, so he is Bilasa Manjari, one of the prominent Manjaris. But here doing pastime. So when they left, he also did not feel to stay there. What is the use of this worldly property, all this nothing. So he also left house and went to Navadip. And there he met Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, by his omniscience, he knew Jiva Goswami is going there. So Nityananda also came there and he said, for you I came here. So he met Srivas Thakur and everyone. And we are hearing Navadip Dhammahatmya, how Nityananda Prabhu took Jiva Goswami to visit all the holy places in Navadip. Navadip Parikrama. After that, Nityananda Prabhu blessed him. Now you should go to Vrindavan, because that is the place given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to your family. So you don't worry, you go there. Your uncles are already there. You stay under them. His father already left body. He was a Ram Bhakta during Mahaprabhu's time. So then Nityananda Prabhu blessed him. So Jiva Goswami then went towards Vrindavan and he stopped in Kashi. Nityananda Prabhu told him, there you should study all scriptures from Madhusudan Vachaspati. And Jiva Goswami learned very quickly all Shastras, all 4 Vedas, all Upanishads, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, Pancharatras, all Puranas, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavatam, everything he learned. Because you see, in his Sat Sandarbha, most famous, his work, 6 Sandarbhas, he is explaining 6 topics. He is giving evidence from all scriptures. From all, from Veda, Puran, everywhere. He's quoting to give evidence. Because he had knowledge of all Shastra. So he was staying in Vrindavan under Rupa Sanatan. He became disciple of Rupa Goswami. Then one day, one Digvijay Pandit, world conqueror scholar, came to Vrindavan to conquer the scholars there. He was already going every place and he would conquer. Now he came to Vrindavan, he went to scholars and they became afraid. They said, actually here our best scholars are Rupa Sanatan, so you can go to them. So he came to Rupa Sanatan and he said, if you have courage, then you debate with me. I'm world conqueror. I'm champion scholar. If you have any courage, you debate with me. If you don't have courage, then you have to sign that you were defeated by me on the paper. Then Rupa Sanatan, they are pure devotees. They could see this person is not interested in Krishna Seva. He's only interested in name and fame. Why we will lose our time of bhajan to deal with him? They signed, yes, we are defeated. They gave this teaching. Devotees should not waste time for some worldly these things. So then that champion scholar was very proud and he came to those scholars of Vrindavan. They did not even have courage to debate with me. You see, they signed here. Then the Brajavasis understood, yes, they did not want to argue uselessly. So they said, yes, but there is one, their disciple called Jiva Goswami. He is also a good scholar and he's very spirited. Only if you conquer him, then we will believe that you won. Then that Digvijay said, his gurus, they had no courage to debate with me. What his disciple will do. But okay, you are saying, what is the problem? I will defeat him. So then he came to Jiva Goswami. He said, I heard you are Jiva Goswami. They are saying you are very learned. But you see on this paper, your gurus, they signed their defeat even without arguing. So what you will debate with me? If you have courage, you will debate with me, or otherwise you also sign. Then Jiva Goswami understood why they signed. They did not want to waste time for name and fame, but he thought the ordinary people of this world, they will not understand why my gurus did not, why they signed like that. They will think they were really afraid and they are not actually good scholars. So this is not good for the conditioned souls of this world. So I will debate this proud person under a condition. He told him that if I defeat you, then I will take this paper and I will tear it. Then that scholar said, no problem. Yes, okay. Then they were debating and Jiva Goswami totally defeated him so badly that that person, out of shock, he passed urine and stool. That unwillingly, because out of emotional shock. So much he was defeated. So then when the Rupa came to know, then he chastised Jiva. Why you did this? Wasting your time. We already signed. He had no desire for this, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explained, some people, they misunderstand Jiva, they think he's proud, but he's not proud. Some Sahajas, they think. Contrary to Trinada Pisunichana, Prabhupada said no. What Rupa Sanatan did was correct. They showed one should not have desire for name and fame. Should not waste time. What Jiva Goswami did is also correct. It was not for his name and fame. It was for out of compassion for fallen souls. They will misunderstand Rupa Sanatan, so I have to show their dignity. I, as their disciple, should show their dignity. That and he tore that paper. So he was following Trinada Pisunichana actually. But it happened again. Ballabhata, one devotee, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa Goswami there in Prayag. So he was in Vrindavan and Rupa Goswami was writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu under tree. So Ballabhata was reading some verses, Mangala Charana beginning, and he suggested to Rupa Goswami there's some corrections should be made here. And Rupa Goswami again, he did not want to argue. So he did not, yes, if necessary to correct, yes, okay. And Jiva Goswami heard, because Jiva Goswami was that time fanning Rupa Goswami, his Gurudev, Seva, Guru Seva. So then when Ballabhata went to Jamuna to take bath, then Jiva Goswami following on the pretext to fetch water from Jamuna, but he asked him there, what you saw wrong in my Gurudev's writing, you tell me. Then Ballabhata told these things. Then Jiva Goswami again refuted him. very strongly, no, there is no mistake here. He showed him how it is no mistake, and Bala Bhatta was very impressed of such a brilliant scholar. So he told to Rupa, your disciple is very good. He refuted all my, what I wanted to correct in your writings, he refuted everything, he's very good. Then Rupa Goswami again you are arguing. Then he told him, you go out from here, from Vrindavan. You should first calm your down. You are fiery. Then Jiva Goswami was very sad. But this is all to give us teaching. Rupa Goswami is only showing outwardly that we should not argue unnecessarily. But Jiva Goswami did not argue unnecessarily. So Jiva Goswami did not go to Bengal, but he went to Nanda Ghat, one village, and there he was practicing great austerity. Almost no eating and all the time doing bhajan and praying for the grace of Rupa Goswami all the time. And the Brajavasis, when Sanatan Goswami was passing, Brajavasis, they told to Sanatan Goswami that there is one Babaji here, very young, very beautiful, but he's not eating anything. And he's very thin. How he will survive? It is not good. You tell him he should eat something. Then Sanatan Goswami went there and he saw, oh, it is Jiva Goswami. Then he came to know what happened. Then Sanatan Goswami, he's a silver, he took him back to Rupa Goswami and told him that you are a follower of Mahaprabhu. So what is the teaching of Mahaprabhu? Name Ruchi, Vaishnav Sevan, Jive Daya. You have to have taste for Harinam and service to Vaishnavas and have compassion for Jivas. So he said, you should be merciful to Jiva. Jiva Goswami. You should be merciful. Then Rupa Goswami again accepted him and was blessing. This is all for our teaching. So then, after the disappearance of Rup Sanatan, then Jiva Goswami became Acharya of all Gauriyas in Vrindavan, in Puri, in Navadip. All Gauriya Vaishnavas, he was topmost, and he wrote 25 books, some commentaries, some his own books, and in these 25 books he composed 400,000 verses in Sanskrit. Of all the 6 Goswamis, he wrote maximum. Rupa Sanatan, about 100,000 verses, he made 400,000 in Sanskrit, or those points. So he was the most extensive writer, and his philosophy, means this word is not proper, his Siddhanta, no one ever even challenged that. They tried for others to refute or like this, but no one even dared to try to challenge what Jiva Goswami wrote. So famous are these Satsandarbhas, and Gopal Virudavali and commentary to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Ujjwal Nirmani, so many things. And this explanation of Gayatri and so many books he wrote. And he also taught Narottam, Srinivas and Shyamananda, and then sent them to preach. And he met Janava Mata, and he was serving all the Vaishnavas when they came from Bengal. He established a Radha Damodar temple. You know, there is his Samadhi also. And yesterday also I told, our Gurudev used to tell us this, that once he and Parangurudev, they were preaching in Bolpur in Shantiniketan, birthplace of Rabindranath Tagore, in one Mahaprabhu temple there. They were invited. So program was there. Then some local people who came to hear, they asked, do you know who made this temple? They said no. It is Sudhir Ganguly, one very famous Indian professor, Sudhir Ganguly. He made this temple. You should go and meet him. We can take you to him. So they went, and Parangurudev and Gurudev, they met him, and he said, yes, I made this temple. Before, I was follower of Ramakrishna mission. They're Mayavadis and also eating meat. I had no faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I thought this is for low-class people. They have no knowledge and they are immoral in character and only they are singing and doing immoral activities. So I was disgusted with everything connected with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there was another one, Brajen Shil. He is also very famous in India. He is a very learned person. He finished all the topics which exist, all the subjects in university, all subjects he finished up to master degree, that PhD, all topics. He was such a scholar and he was all the time thinking. Our Gurudev told, if he was teaching also, so if he has to be there in university at 11, then already at 8 a.m. they have to inform him. Why? Because they will tell, now you should go to bathroom. And he will go, and on the way to bathroom, he will think something. He will think, and then again they will have to say, no, you have to go to, oh, yes, yeah, okay. Then he's going and bathing and thinking. So all the time they had to remind, and then breakfast, he would take one morsel, and then again in between, he will think and forget, because he was absorbed in that, so he does not know what is there. So somehow he will take breakfast, then they will take him to car, and he will step one foot in the car, and suddenly he will start to think something, because all the time thinking. So in this way, he needed from 8 a.m. they will have to start so that he can reach to university at 11. And with all assistants to remind him, no, you have to go. So such a person, during British regime, the British government, when he died, they offered to that government, they offered 1 lakh rupees. At that time, this was huge money, to get his brain, to check what is in his brain. They were offering that money. We want to see what is in his brain, because he was so intelligent. All subjects he was perfect. So that Brajen Shil, I was a great admirer of him, this Ganguly said. So I heard that once he said that Jiva Goswami's Priti Sandarbha is the jewel of all literature in this world. It's the best. It is pure nectar. If someone does not read that book, his life is useless. So I was surprised. Jiva Goswami is a follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Why this great scholar person, Brajen Shil, is saying about the book of Jiva Goswami? So I used to read many books, so I thought, okay, let me read. It was in Sanskrit, so I took the help of some Sanskrit scholars. And they were explaining, but I was not satisfied with their explanation. I felt no satisfaction. Then someone told of those scholars, actually you have to hear from some devotee explanation. So there was one devotee, and he was explaining this Priti Sandarbha and also giving verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita to support that, without mentioning it is Chaitanya Charitamrita, because he already knew he's not having faith in Mahaprabhu. So while hearing both, he said, these Bengali verses, they are your verses, or you are reading from some book or from where? Because it is very nice. No extra word is used. Very beautiful and clear thought and everything. Then he said, yes, I'm reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then when I heard, oh, this is also from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So can I read? Then he was reading. So when hearing Priti Sandarbha in Chaitanya Charitamrita, then my mind totally changed. Then I understood that actually this is the highest Siddhanta possible in this world. There is nothing superior. So I became a staunch follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is why I made this temple and I started to preach. Then Parangurudev invited him. We have a big library in our Kolkata Math. So you are invited, you can come there, you can stay, you can read the books, all this. But then soon after that, Ganguly, he left his body, but he was interested. So Gurudev used to say. And another one topic, Jiva Goswami, in some places he wrote about Svakya Ras. So some Sahajas, they misunderstood and they thought he's not supporting Parakya Ras, so he's not topmost Rasika. But they misunderstood him. Prabhupada explained, he saw in some of his followers preference for this because of their qualification. So for them he wrote about that. But that does not mean that he's against Parakya Rasa, because he's a Bilasa Manjari and the best of the disciples of Rupa Goswami. So in this way they misunderstood. And our Parangurudev said, if someone reads Sat Sandarbha, Sikh Sandarbha, then Parangurudev said, you see how Jiva Goswami 500 years ago, he gave all the modern arguments which we are now hearing in our time. At that time, they did not have such doubts and like this. How Jiva Goswami 500 years ago, he already knew what kind of arguments people will have later. Parangurudev is very astonishing. But because he's omniscient, like Vyasadeva, he wrote Vedanta Sutra 5,000 years ago. Before Siddhartha Gautam Buddha, he preached Buddhism. But in Vedanta Sutra, Vyasadeva already refuted 4 schools of Buddhism. Before. Why? Because they know everything. How he knows that Kalki Avatar will come later, what he will do, and because they are Trikala Gya, past, present, future, they can see. And also this is not first creation. So many creations is going on, and so many Kali Yugas and Satya, all this is there. So it is already existing. So he just wrote. So Buddhists, they cannot understand this. They think actually Vedanta Sutra was compiled after Buddhism happened, because otherwise how he can know what we are preaching? They cannot understand this. That is another level of vision. So I want to read you something from, time is over, but at least few minutes. I want to read you from Priti Sandarbha of Jiva Goswami. Because our life is useless. And Parangurudev also praised how Jiva Goswami is writing. It is astonishing. So let me open. First, Jiva Goswami, in the beginning of Sandarbha, he wrote, "May Shri Krishna remain ever glorious. I have repeated, examined the original work which was written by Gopal Bhatta Goswami." He first wrote notes, then Jiva Goswami revised and compiled and gave evidence, everything, who greatly pleased Rupa and Sanatan. parts of which, in that book, were in order, parts of which were out of order, and parts of which were incomplete. Putting it in a systematic order, I have written this work. This is in Mangala Charana. Then, this is Priti Sandarbha's beginning. I'm reading. Here, the supreme truth enunciated in scripture was previously established in 4 Sandarbhas. Worship of the supreme entity was described in the 5th Sandarbha. In first 4, there is Sambandha Gyan. Tattva Sandarbha, Bhagavat Sandarbha, Krishna Sandarbha, and Paramatma Sandarbha. Then in the 5th Sandarbha, worship means Bhakti Sandarbha. Abhideya is described. Now the goal, Prayojana, is described in appropriate order. The goal of the human being is to attain happiness and destroy suffering. Complete happiness and destruction of suffering is attained only by priti for the Lord. Priti means affection or love. So complete happiness and destruction of happiness is only by priti of Supreme Lord, and that is the goal of every human being or every sentient being. This is the goal. In Bhagavatam you will find there also. That supreme entity which was mentioned was previously described by scriptural citation. It is proven that the supreme entity is eternal, infinite, and filled with the highest bliss. In Shruti, that is Upanishads, starting with Saishanandasya Mimamsa Bhavati, it is from Taittiriya Upanishad, it is stated that one can multiply a human's bliss by 10. Then multiply that by 100 and then multiply that by 100 to achieve the bliss of Brahma, means Brahmananda, that Brahmajyoti is bliss. Unsatisfied with that, by the words Yato Vacho Nivartante, it is stated that the Lord cannot be expressed by words, means completely expressed by words, as Jiva Goswami already explained before. The infinite bliss of the Lord is established as unique. Koh ye vanyat kah pranyat ya esha akasha nando nasyat. This is also from Taittiriya Upanishad. Who could breathe if Akash, here Akash is referring to Supreme Lord, if he were not bliss? This shows the Lord's nature is pure bliss, more predominant than any other qualities of his Swarup, just as the body of the sun produces pure light. Though the Jiva belongs to the Lord, he is controlled by the Lord's Maya since he has no previous knowledge of the Lord. Because of absence of knowledge of his own Swarup as Atma and acceptance of upadis made by Maya, means material egos or denominations, the Jiva is completely covered with the suffering of beginningless samsara. This was described in Paramatma Sandarbha. There Jiva Tattva is explained. Gaining knowledge consisting of direct contact with the Supreme Lord, a person attains the highest bliss. This is the highest goal of humanity. Destruction of ignorance concerning one's nature as Atma and absolute destruction of suffering takes place naturally with disappearance of ignorance about the Lord. So when you get knowledge of Supreme Lord, that ignorance is automatically removed, and by that suffering also removed, and all bliss is attained. The destruction of ignorance concerning Atma is eternal, because that knowledge which destroys the ignorance is a manifestation of the Supreme Entity's nature of self-revelation. It is eternal. So once you get it, it will destroy ignorance and cannot reappear. The absolute destruction of suffering is eternal because that ignorance existed but was destroyed. Destruction of ignorance of Atma as the highest goal is described. Then he is giving evidences from Srimad Bhagavatam and Vishnu Purana, and then it goes on. This Priti Sandarbha, this is the topic about attaining ultimate goal of life. Priti for Supreme Lord. So today is Srila Jiva Goswami Disappearance Day. His glories are unlimited. His compassion is unlimited. So I am just remembering what I heard and read from Gurudev, and I am blessed to read his writings. Our Gurudev used to quote that writing of Jiva Goswami again and again, where Jiva Goswami says, first one has to hear Harinam from a pure devotee. Then he has to chant to purify his heart. Then, gradually, the transcendental nature of Harinam will be revealed in his purified heart. Then further he will chant, then transcendental form will be revealed in heart. Then transcendental qualities, transcendental associates, transcendental dham, and ultimately transcendental lila, all will be revealed in a purified heart by chanting holy name. No need to artificially meditate on those, but you just have to chant without offenses, and revelation will come of all this. And lila is the last, it is finest, so it should not be given first to public, because they will misunderstand. So this verse our Gurudev used to quote many times. It is in Jiva Goswami's Krama Sandarbha, his commentary to Srimad Bhagavatam. So today Srila Jiva Goswami's Disappearance Day. I am remembering his Samadhi Mandir in Radha Damodar temple, and one Bhajan Kutir is also in Radha Kund in Lalita's area. So I am bowing down to him and praying his causeless mercy. He's our Guru. Every day we are praying for his grace in Jayadvani, in Guru Parampara song, and here also Bandeham, Shiragunatam, Sajivam. We have to pray for his grace. And Hariharaya Nama Krishna Narottam Thakuro, there we are praying for the grace of Jiva Goswami. So he's our previous Guru. So I am bowing down to him and praying his causeless mercy. There are also many other his pastimes and topics, but time is over for today. His glories are unlimited. Tomorrow, it means it is already decided that tomorrow we'll have that program in Croatia, but I will confirm on chat if any change will happen. For now, it is like that. So tomorrow no Skype, but we'll continue then on Wednesday.